Hello, welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live. I'm Daniel Coe. I'm delighted to be joined by Keith Jackson, as always.
Good evening, Daniel.
And of course tonight we've got a very special guest.
Yes. New boy we've got, so we've started him on a column.
Aye, that's
trial
good.
period.
Aye.
So no, listen, and I know that you've already been on socials and getting questions in, so there's loads of questions for the punters, Barry, that I'm sure we can put to you. I think first...
I'm interested in some of these questions.
Well, it's a very interesting moment in time, isn't it?
Sure
to be fair.
Sure is.
So, and the latest on that, which I think we should deal with and address right at the top, Daniel, is we understand that Steven Gerrard is either in London or making his way there just now. There will be a meeting in the next 24 hours, possibly tonight, possibly tomorrow morning, with Rangers Chairman Andrew Kavanagh, Vice Chairman Parag Marath. But it's not an interview, and I think it's important that we stress that. At this point, this is like an initial, almost like a fact-finding interview on both sides to establish whether or not Steven Gerrard likes the idea and likes the setup, and whether or not Parag Marath and Andrew Kavanagh see him as a genuine front-runner and a real candidate. The information that we're getting is that, depending on how this goes, there is then a list. Now, it could well be that everybody loves each other and they all give each other cuddles and handshakes and the thing is done there and then on the spot. Highly unlikely. There is a list of 2 or 3 others that has been put together, we believe, and it's now a matter of, is Steven Gerrard's name about to join them into a process and take it from there. But certainly there's a lot of excitement, a lot of speculation about Steven Gerrard because, you know, the Rangers fans have kind of jumped all over it, haven't they, over the last 24 hours. So I think they'll be excited to know that it's getting to the point that Steven Gerrard is prepared to get in a plane, because that didn't seem that it was going to be happening in the summer for various reasons when his name again. But and that's the one thing that I would say, Daniel, is if you remember back to the summer, there were various points, Barry, you'll know yourself, there were various points in that process where people were actually saying, the press conference, they've booked a room for the press conference tomorrow and there's security and people have been told to take time off and all this. That happened on 2 or 3 occasions over last summer with Steven Gerrard, and that excitement, it became like hysteria at times. And it was us on this show that said, look, I don't think this is happening. The information we were getting is that Steven Gerrard has family and financial reasons that will make it really difficult, and it's more than likely he's going to stay put in Bahrain. I'm not sure how much has changed since then.
It's not even that long ago.
Well, exactly, and I don't think there has been a big change in circumstances. So this would need to be something new that would move Steven Gerrard into a position that he wasn't prepared to put himself into in the summer. So, not clear, but certainly it's moving, and it's moving quickly.
You mentioned, obviously, comments coming in and questions. If you've got any for Barry, we'll try and put them to him, or just general comments. We'll try and read them out. Darren's come in right away. He says, would Barry be happy with Gerrard coming back to Rangers?
I would. He's obviously been at a club before. Look, in terms of this appointment for the Rangers manager, I think it's important that they've had a connection with the club. That's a big thing for me. And certainly Steven Gerrard's had that. I know a lot's made of, he's only won 1 trophy out of 9, but it was a big trophy.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And he's a big character, he's a big personality, and I think that's what Rangers need at this moment in time.
Do you think, Barry, because I think a lot of the problems that you encountered, and I'm sure we'll discuss it over the next wee while, but when you went in there in the interim capacity last season, am I right in thinking that some of the major problems and things that kind of scared you a little bit about it was how far Rangers had drifted away and how there was a lack of connection? And do you think that Steven Gerrard gets the club in a way that a lot of other people haven't seemed to get over the last while?
Fans are the most important people, Jacko. That's what you need. You need a connection from the touchline to the stands, and I thought that's what was definitely missing, because I'd been back at all the games through my old role as an ambassador. I had seen it, and that was my first port of call was, let's try and get a winning team firstly, but let's try and get a connection with the fans again. I think that's the most important thing, because I think 2 of them go toe and toe, and when there's a good connection like that, then you tend to see a team win more games of football, and I certainly think Steven Gerrard can bring that. You've seen the hype over the last 24 hours. Coming, or maybe coming, should I say? And I think he would be certainly a popular choice. In my opinion, I think he would be a good choice if they can try and agree it.
But he seemed to connect with the club in terms of he'd obviously spent almost all of his playing career at Liverpool. Big club, high intensity, high pressure. So he seemed to make the transition into going into Rangers, which seems to shock a lot of people. The size of the thing that they maybe don't expect, it takes them by surprise. That was never the case with Steven Gerrard, was it?
No, and maybe a big help was Gary Mack.
Aye.
Obviously, I know he played with Motherwell when he was younger, but he's made it well known he was a Rangers man, and he's obviously let him know what it's all about. And I'm sure he would have done his homework. He would have spoke to many people, and you seen the reception when he got announced that time he came. There was thousands of fans inside the stadium, and he bought right into it. And I think it's important that you buy right into it. It's, as I said to you, having the fans on your side, you've got a much better chance of being successful. And certainly, he had the fans on the side.
And there's a complete disconnect just now.
Yep, and what I liked about him as well, I've got to be honest with you, when he was doing his pressers, he was just straight. That's the way you've got to be. Fans are no stupid. Fans are no stupid. When you sit there before a game and after a game, certainly after a game when you've maybe suffered a defeat or not played well, you need to be straight and open and honest. And I think he was always that way. And I think that's the best way to be.
Authentic.
You've got to be yourself. Why try and be somebody that you're not? I think if you're like that, then you put yourself into a bit of trouble.
We've got tons of questions, comments on Gerrard as well, though. That'll maybe get your guys' take on it.
Yeah,
That's
go.
cool. This one here, let me see. Green Machine, he's obviously, I think, of a Celtic fan persuasion, but he's not worried. He says Gerrard only won the league in Scotland because there was no fans in the stadium to get on their backs during COVID. Rangers easy okay says, thing with Gerrard I don't get is why he's up for it now with a squad he hasn't assembled, but wasn't up for it when he would have a large transfer kitty to play with in the summer. I hope he takes it. And he also says, Barry, thanks for the back end of last season and all the memories throughout the years. And this one from Richard, he says, if it is to be Gerrard, will he bring Michael Beale back alongside him? It's a very intriguing question, isn't it?
Yeah. And look, I've got an unconfirmed backroom team. That what has been suggested to me that Steven Gerrard might look to bring with him if this is indeed the one that he says he wants to go to. Now, a couple of things on that. In the Rio Ferdinand podcast yesterday, he sounded pretty far removed for being a guy that had his backroom team set up. Yep. In fact, he referred to, I'll have that at some point in the future. So it's not now. But, so this is unconfirmed. I don't know if it's even just a rumour that's doing the rounds, but it is coming from someone who's fairly well connected.
I love when Keith gets the
who's the rumours from? Yourself?
No. So, Gerrard, Gary Mack, Billy Reid, Jermaine Defoe and Tom Coulshaw.
Can I just say something, right?
Yes.
I'm blind as well, but how big's your...
I know, my eyes are totally gone.
It's like Deirdre for Coronation Street.
That's worse than my mum's.
Worse than Hugh Keevins. So that's the rumour that's doing the rounds. Not verified, not confirmed. Billy Reid's an interesting name in there. Jermaine Defoe's been...
I was going to say that's what I was going to come to. A lot of people commenting on Jermaine Defoe's Instagram activity this afternoon. 4 hours ago he posted I think we can see a picture of it, of his, there you go, his Rangers tracksuit.
That's an old one, that.
That is.
That's an old one.
I've got that one.
Aye. But, I mean, he posted it without any real
Did you even
comment.
play in that strip? That was before your time.
No, that's a tracksuit top.
I know, but remember that Adidas strip that had the big three white...
Aye, that's like early 90s, isn't it?
Aye, but obviously my mum and dad bought me at that stage, didn't they? So that's up the loft.
So aye, plenty of people commenting on that. I've just got so many questions for that. I didn't think there'd be this many questions, but I've got so many coming in.
Right, but so again, I would stress that, I'm saying that obviously the jungle drums are going crazy to the point that you're now hearing what the backroom team looks like. I still think there's a lot of miles to travel, quite literally, for a guy coming in from the Middle East, but to get to the point that they're even ready to have a discussion. And in fact, we do believe that there's no even any plans to discuss what the makeup of the backroom team might look like tonight. This is purely exploratory stuff. And I just get the feeling, as I said, it didn't feel right for Steven Gerrard to make this same move in the summer, as one of the guys said there, and he was, you know, he was getting a blank canvas at that point.
Yeah.
He's not got a blank canvas. He's got to take over for the canvas that Russell Martin has made a mess of.
Without being funny, I mean, the team was already, from when Barry was in charge last season, my own opinion, I think the team is even...
It's been
worse.
downgraded in almost every
Downgraded
position.
isn't the right word,
I mean, would you agree that the kind of the guys that have come in, that some of the guys that have gone out the way, and I'm thinking of guys...
I would have certainly, looking at the squad that I inherited, and I worked with them, guys like, for instance, I know a lot of people going about his age, but Leon Balogun, listen, Big Leon's never going to play every game, but I tell you what a brilliant backup, what a big character.
for big games.
Very popular.
Well, he wasn't
in the
just a
dressing room.
backup for you, was he?
No,
But he
no.
emerged as, one of the first names in the team sheet.
I wrapped him in cotton wool. I needed him.
Yeah.
I needed warriors. I needed guys who would put their head in the chopping block, and that's certainly what he done. Vaj, I'm talking about Cherny. He's another one that game changer. I call them game changers. That's what Vaj was. Sometimes he would frustrate you, but also sometimes he would come up with big moments. I mean, he
And he'd walk into that starting 11 just now.
Vaj.
Aye.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Cyril always come up in debate constantly, and until I was always a big supporter of Cyril before I even went in to take the job, and I always says it in my columns. And when you actually go in and seen what he was all about in terms of what he put into training, how hard he worked, still at 31 years of age, desperate to learn, desperate to get better. Guys like that, I still think would have.
Were you surprised?
job.
Were you surprised? Because I was a wee bit surprised that Cyril pushed to get away from the club this
Well,
season.
I don't know, because I'm no in. Listen, that's Cyril will be able to tell you better. Maybe he didn't get on with the manager, or the manager didn't see him as part of the plans, and that's why maybe Cyril pushed, because he's still 2 years left in his contract. Cyril, look, Cyril wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but one thing he gave you was 100%.
shift.
Aye, and that's what you're looking for. So yeah, there were certain players that I managed last year that I would have liked to have seen stay, but listen, every manager's got different opinions and different ways of doing things.
Do you think, see, and I'm not saying that you're one of the names on the list, what I'm asking you is, theoretically, if you had to go back in there again just now, is this a harder job? Would this be harder? Because the squad has changed?
Do you know what? Because I'm looking afar again, I'm back in my role as an ambassador, I'm watching for the stands, and I'm watching on TV, like the game at the weekend against Falkirk. I would rather give my opinion when I speak to them.
And you get to
If
know
you
them.
speak to them, you get to know them, you get to work with them. That's when you can give an honest opinion. I still think there's really good players in there. I do. Some of the signings, look, have struggled to make an impact, but it is a tough place to play. But you've got to do your homework on that. You've got to understand and make them understand, if they're coming to Rangers, what to expect, because it's a very, very demanding place. But that's the way it's always been, and that's the way it'll always be.
But is that not doing due diligence on the characters?
Yeah,
that-
you've
that
got to
you're
do all
dealing with
that.
when you're, because I'm not sure that Rangers
I'll
did
be honest
any
with
of
you,
that
Jacob, if
properly.
I'm looking at a player, listen, you've got to be a good player,
Yeah.
right? But there's a lot to go with it.
Well, you mentioned that right from the start. It's not good. It's not enough to be talented. A talented football player. There need to be other
I would
factors.
rather have 11 workhorses than 11 talented players. And some people look at me and think, what? I would rather have that. You've got to have guys that can make a difference within a game, but round about that, you've got to have guys that are willing to dig deep, and Rangers need a few more players like that.
We've got tons of this question, so I kind of feel I have to ask it. I mean, Lee's one, he says, would Barry like a role in the new management team? But lots of people saying Barry Ferguson and Steven Gerrard that would be the dream team for Rangers?
Would I like a...
I think he just says...
Listen, I've said this a few times. I'm happy in my life again. Look, what happened last year was something that I never thought would ever happen, and I just went and gave it my best shot. Now I'm back in my role as an ambassador, which I've got to be honest with you, I love. The club are brilliant with me, and I'm doing a wee bit of... I'm still doing my column. I'm doing a wee bit of radio, so I'm in a good place at this moment in time. But you can never say never. You just don't know what's round the corner, do you? In life, like I've seen that last February. Life was just nice.
Sailing along and then it was
You
carnage.
were getting to... I mean, I can get down to England to see my son playing. I can spend a bit of time with the kids as well. I can spend a bit of time with my mates. I could go and play a bit of golf, and then 24 hours later, your life's turned upside down. But I would never change it. I loved it. I loved every single second of it. I did. I would never change it, and I can always say that I stood in the touchline with my tin flute on.
Well, that's interesting, Barry, because surprise, we've got an what is it? A. Kavanagh from Philadelphia on it.
He's writing in, aye.
Look, would you talk if, for whatever reason, so this, let's just say, for example, Steven Gerrard decides he's going back to Bahrain and Rangers are left with a situation assessing options. Given the experience that you've had, given how you're in a happy place just now, if they came to you and said, Barry, can we talk? You'd want to talk.
Well, listen, I'd be lying if I sat here and says no. I would never. Of course, it's my club.
Aye.
It means a lot to me. I've grew up a Rangers supporter. I've had the privilege of playing, captaining, and now managing, and I've got the privilege of being back as an ambassador for the club. And I would always be there to help the club. That's me being brutally honest. I've no... People have asked me, are you in for the job? No, I'm happy what I'm doing just now. But listen, if they want to speak, of course, I would be there to try and help in whatever way I could.
But you're not going to push for it?
No, of course not. No.
A lot of people, Mark is one of them, says, what's Barry's view on Kevin Muscat?
Like him. Listen, I played with Muskie.
Was he as mad as he seemed?
I love fiery characters, and he's worse than fiery. And it's brilliant to see an ex-teammate who, listen, I had a good relationship with Muskie. He's went on his early stage of management. I think he'd done well in Australia, then he went to Belgium or something, and it never quite worked.
I think he might be right,
aye. And then he's went over to...
and then he's just followed Ange.
Yeah, he's went over to Japan, and listen, he's written it up.
Very highly thought of.
He's in the way that he plays, I took a keen interest, because sometimes you like to see your ex-teammates do really well, and obviously you know what it's like online. You can go and watch some games, and the way he comes across as well, again, I think, which is important, very straight and honest, and he could certainly, in my opinion, do a job for Rangers.
This one here from your loyal Muppet says, feel gutted for you, Barry. You kept us more stable. We were unbeaten with Celtic, got us through against Fenerbahce and narrowly missed out in a semi-final after dodgy decisions at the Bilbao Arena. You deserved the job. This one coming in from Rebel simply says she wants to know, what did Josie say behind the scenes, if anything, Barry, when you knocked him out of Europe?
Well, do you know what? Before it was great because he shook my hand, but then he obviously was like, welcome to... in the mad world, welcome to management. And I was like, all right, good. Let's see what... the first game I'm talking about Fenerbahce, so let's see what's going to happen here, because we obviously went with a different way of playing. We tried to surprise him. And I
thought, not disrespect you a wee bit just before kick-off?
Listen, he's a guy I respect so much.
He's a wind-up merchant.
But I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Like, just to stand and go up against somebody.
One of the greats.
If not...
the
best.
But it was like talking down to you.
Aye, but listen, I took it out with a pinch of salt, and I just thought to myself, well, let's see what happens during the game, because we'd set up a total different way for what previous...
And what he was expecting you to do.
Yeah, like we come in to start with, then obviously with the previous managers. And I've got to be fair to the group of players, they took it on board. We only had 2 days. because I sat myself and I thought I need to change something here.
So you changed to a 5.
So I had to 3 get into a 5 if they were attacking, and we played like a box in the middle of the pitch, and we won through the middle. So I went in and I had a debate with my staff, and that's one of the reasons I'm sure we'll go into it. That's why I picked that staff, because they're no yes men. They would challenge me, and I need challenged. And don't get us wrong, the final decision's mine, and I knew I was going to do it, but they challenged me quite a bit.
Have a good debate about it.
Listen, I don't know if we're sure about that, or the way that they play, they could maybe get in behind us on the right hand side or the left hand side. And but no, we decided to go with it. And what I loved about my staff was, we're right behind you, let's go. Let's get to work in the training ground. We've done that, and I've got to give the boys credit. They took everything on board, we asked them, and we surprised a lot of people with the performance. It just wasn't the performance, it was just the way that they went about it. There was a real aggression about them, and that's what Rangers teams are built on. And that's something we try to get into that group of players, because it's no easy just that early, try to get it into them. It's a work in progress, but I'm not daft enough to think, oh, you're going to get time here. I know I had to make a difference as quickly as possible. We had a few bumps which are hurtful, but the good thing about the players were they showed a reaction. And at Rangers, when you suffer a bad result or performance, you've got to react in the right manner. And every time we've done that, we suffered a difficult result, they come back strong. And then, because there was a lot of talk about that group of players, mentally they're not strong enough. Well, do you know what? They showed me a right few of them are mentally strong enough. They just need a bit of help and a bit of guidance. And if they get that right help and that right guidance, and then you help them with other players that have certainly got that, then there's nucleus of a right good team there.
Well, actually, I mean, Paul, you kind of stole the thunder a wee bit there, Barry, but he says, how does Barry rate his own performance as interim manager? There's a lot of people asking that. How would you sum it up?
Average.
Really?
Aye. Look, some big results, but well, above average, I'll say. Above average. It was just the 2 knocks early doors. But I knew at the time, because I'd been at the games, I'll go back to it because of my role, being at the game as an ambassador, there was clearly an issue at Ibrox. Clearly there was, they were, I wouldn't say they were scared, I wouldn't say they were nervous, they just needed, I'll go back to the word about guidance on how to handle situations when you don't get a goal early. And Ibrox was like that. The crowd start to have a wee go at you, which I have no issue with. That's just what being at Rangers is like. They just need to they just needed to handle these situations a bit better. And with a wee bit of time, we started to get there.
Is that part of the problem? Because we've had discussions on here, Barry, and you look over at Celtic, you've got a training ground full of guys there that live and breathe the club, that understand it. You know, Callum McGregor's, James Forrest, guys that have been around it and lived it. Even the staff around the training centre, guys that live it and breathe it. And it feels as if Rangers have just moved away so far from
I wouldn't say they've moved so far, but they're not far away.
But in terms of the mindset of the players, these guys get it. And the only people inside that dressing room who really got it were you, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds and Al McGregor.
Yeah, and so the Dunner players that were in there. Yeah, Skip, for instance, Tav. Again, another guy that comes up in debate in pubs and all over the place. He was excellent. He was excellent for me. He was strong. He's no on the pitch. He's not a rant and raver, but good character, strong character. He never hides, which is important. Because he through tough times, never hides. You've got Big Jack, albeit he suffered a few bad mistakes. But look at Jack, brought him in towards the end of the season because that hurt him. That made him even stronger. He went away and he worked even harder. Get back into the team and look at him this season. He's been Rangers' best player by a country mile. You look at Nico, for instance, another guy who's a steely wee customer. So you've got players in there. You just needed to add to it and help them. just surround them with characters as well, and they'll bounce off each other, and they'll get better.
Aidan says, does Barry think Raskin should captain the team permanently? And Nicky wants to know, was Hamza Igaman a problem under Barry, and was it clear he wanted away?
No, he wasn't a problem. I played a certain way what I thought Cyril was better suited to. I thought Hamza was more of an impact player.
He plays more off the cuff, doesn't he?
Aye, when the opposition started to tire, the last 20 minutes, Hamza would come on and sometimes Hamza didn't know what he was doing. You know what I mean at times, but he was his natural ability was scary. He was frustrating at times, but no, Hamza.
Is it hard to get me playing a structure?
Yeah, you would have to spend a whole pre-season with him, you know what I mean, and build the team. And build the team round about him. But listen, certainly in terms of ability, he had great ability. He could come up with moments of magic, as you've seen in a number of occasions. But just the way that we were playing at times just didn't suit him. He was more an impact player for us. So I'm not surprised. I think he'll go and shine in the French league.
Tons of talent.
I think I'll suit him.
Aye.
Suit him down to a T.
I mean, again, we went round the houses here on the managers, but a lot of people asking Barry's thoughts on Derek McInnes. Thomas wants to know your thought, Baggio as well, thoughts on McInnes for the job, Barry?
Yeah, but I've spoken about him in my column a number of times, Dale, and he's a guy that I've got a lot of respect for. He's been round about the game for a long time. I know a lot of people going about when he went down to Bristol, it never went well for him. Yeah, but listen, he came up with Aberdeen. Look at Aberdeen since he's left.
Aye.
Struggled big time. I know they won the Scottish Cup last year, but let's be honest, they've struggled. Went to Kilmarnock, where I never thought he would go to the Championship. He's went down there, brought them back up, got them into Europe, and then he's got to move to Hearts under the new ownership or the guidance of Tony Bloom.
So you think about Kelly for the Championship to Europe.
Aye.
You know what I mean? That's pretty good.
He's got to. He's in my eyes, he's a very good manager.
Aye.
And I seen it. I come up against him my first game, and you could see what his teams were all about. They battered us the first 20 minutes.
They were 2-0 up, weren't they? Aye.
I was ready to just walk down the tunnel and just go out and jump into my car. But you could, the way that you could tell they were well coached.
Aye.
And that comes from the manager. Also the coaching staff as well, but very difficult to play against. We had to change.
That was your first game, wasn't it?
We had to change our formation through that game.
So we gave them a substitution after about 16 minutes or so.
So we gave them a wee bit of a surprise, and then the second half, to be fair to us, we ran over the top of them. But no, Derek's a manager that I've always admired. Always admired.
We've got I mean, are you happy with me just battering into these questions?
No, mate, I am taking the night off.
I'm sure the viewers will be happy with that.
I'll throw one at you while we're waiting.
Go for it.
I'm sure there was a great story about Hamza, which probably underlines just how difficult a manager's job is. Things that you don't see coming. Things that, I mean, it's one thing getting your tactics right, getting your selection right, getting the team hotel sorted out, getting all these things. But was there not a point during that period where you were in charge that Ramadan
it was,
threw an absolute span on the works?
Listen, you've got to respect religion in terms of the Muslims in the team, and we had a number. We had Hamza, we had Ridvan, we had Dio, we had Bajrami. So we had.
It's
tough because obviously
you've got to go as a manager to try and sort these issues.
Yeah, because you've got to watch them because they're not eating. As you know how it works, and you've got to respect their religious beliefs.
Would they still try and train and play, man?
They would train. We were going round during the night to feed them.
Wow.
Like, making sure they were getting the right food into their system, because I needed them.
Aye.
But that food had to be delivered before dawn, because that was...
Yeah, so we had the nutritionist going round and waking them up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning and making sure they were eating the right stuff. So yeah, that stuff.
Did Hamza not sleep in and miss one of his meals?
Well, he was some boy. But listen, you've got to remember he's 21. You know what I mean? He's a young kid. But yeah, they're the tough situations you've got to come up against. But you've got to manage them in the right manner. And to be fair to the club and the staff, we managed it.
Yeah.
We managed it really well. It was just difficult for them because you know what it's like. You come in and if we want to do a real tough session, the players are obviously loading up with their breakfast an hour and a half, 2 hours before we go and give them a proper old school doing. Because we changed the training quite a bit. We upped the tempo. I just felt the tempo was too
slow.
It's just too laboured, and I wanted my team to be up against them and really aggressive.
Training the way they play type thing.
So that was tough, but we managed it.
But I remember it was not the Motherwell match, which was just before Fenerbahce away, and you could see Egeman was. Did you maybe have to take him off at half time or something? He looked as if he had nothing in the tank.
I had to take a few players off.
Look, time is getting away from us, and I've still got plenty of questions. So let me fire through a few.
Putting our log in the fire in here right now. What's
I told you, I saw it.
It's brutal. It's really brutal.
We can go for a wee dip in Loch Lomond after as well.
Come on.
Ross wants to know the most underrated Rangers player you played alongside. He puts forward two guy as a shout.
He's one of the best I've played with.
Aye, that's what I kind of thought.
And do you know what? A lot of people will be surprised at this, right? And you could rely on him. One of the fittest guys I've ever came across. Done a brilliant job, whether it's centre half or right back. Who do you think?
Craig Moore?
No, he's in my best 11. Craig Moore was an absolute warrior. See if you want somebody in the trenches.
I can't even think centre half or right back.
Most underrated, and again he came in for a fair bit of criticism. Kirk Broadfoot.
Big Kirk.
Well, aye.
I tell you, what a job he done. And he's better than a lot of people made it.
That's an interesting answer.
I don't think he ever recovered for the boiled egg problem in the microwave, did he?
He's some man, but listen, fit as a fiddle, would play anywhere. See if you asked him to play in goals up front, he would have done it.
Aye, that's a cracking answer. This one here from Zach. I said to Barry before we go on, this is a bit weird how emphatic he is, but he says, I know for a fact that Wenger and Arsenal were after you at one point, Barry. Can you tell us more? And did you ever have a firm offer to play abroad? You would have been perfect for Serie A.
Yeah, I had a lot of interest.
Is the Arsenal thing real?
Aye, there was a lot of interest. Not just that, there was a lot of teams down south, and just the way it works out, you end up somewhere probably that a lot of people didn't expect me to go Blackburn, but one of the biggest things for me to go to Blackburn was who was in charge.
Aye. And that was a serious Blackburn
one of the
team.
best midfielders that Scotland's ever produced.
And the team they had.
Aye, and going abroad. Yeah, I had a lot of interest abroad as well, not just for European, like Middle East, MLS.
Mm-hmm. Never tempted?
I was tempted at times, but I'm a homeboy. But I take my hat off. My nephew, for instance, Lewis, going away to Italy.
Absolutely
Tore it up, fluent Italian.
Brilliant.
And people ask you if you've got any regrets. I've got probably 2 regrets in football. Obviously the situation that happened with Scotland, because it ended my Rangers career, because I wanted to finish my career at Rangers, and probably no tasting, going to a different country, a different environment. But at the end of the day, Rangers was always the team. That was the only team I really wanted to play for.
It's incredible though what Lewis has done there, isn't it? He's a clever boy as well, isn't he?
I love the fact that he's just hopped off at that early age, went across there himself with his girlfriend, and he's just took it. If he never get that cruciate ligament injury, he would have been playing with Juventus or somebody, because
they were all queuing up for him.
Aye.
But now he's back. Motta went to Juventus, didn't he?
Aye, because he went to Bologna to Juventus. But yeah, not just Lewis. You look at young Lennon Miller, Udinese. You look at Aaron Hickey a few years back going to Bologna.
Craigie's saying, Barry, do you think Rangers missed out not getting Lewis?
100%.
Aye. It seems really weird that didn't happen, to be honest.
Absolute madness. He would have walked to Rangers.
Aye.
But listen, they never took up the opportunity, and look at him now. He's been over to Serie A now. He's a regular in Steve Clarke's Scotland team, and if he has a strong season this year, he's going to be leaving for what, 30 million.
Aye, at least.
Astonishing the amount of players that
Aye,
Rangers
and he
miss
left
out on
Aberdeen
backyard.
for
And Celtic for that matter.
I would they leave Aberdeen? A couple of million quid,
Aye.
if you're lucky.
1.5 or something.
Aye.
This sounds dead cringy,
But
but
then, sorry,
no.
getting there. You're talking about Lewis. Look who took the opportunity. Look, you've got to give Hamilton Accies a lot of credit because Lewis got let go for Rangers. Similar to my son as well, who he's making a career out of it, but he's obviously lower leagues down in England. But Derek McInnes takes him up to Aberdeen and puts him into the Aberdeen first
He
team.
identified that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it.
Worked with him, made him a better player. So, yeah.
What I was going to say there was it sounds dead cringy, and I know it does, but see when you look at Lewis Ferguson, McTominay, Gilmore, players like that, you can't help but feel proud of them. I don't know any of them, but you just look at them and think,
It's brilliant. It's brilliant for Scottish football.
Aye.
These young boys are doing
Yeah,
it.
look at McTominay.
I know.
Every time I watched
incredible,
that
isn't
play
it?
last year, he was just an absolute standout.
Aye.
And then you look at Manchester United,
He's used as a fringe man, sub.
mental,
It's incredible.
mental. But I love seeing the Scottish boys go, whether it's Italy or wherever. I think you'll now start to see that, and I'll go back to it. We are allowing these guys to leave our league, where there's an opportunity to get them, and in time they might go to another league. But I think there's a real ignorance towards Scottish players.
100%.
There's so many. There's a few players that could easily play with Rangers and Celtic for that matter.
There's some sort of snobbery. Or I don't
There is.
know what it is.
I don't call it snobbery. I call it ignorance.
Mhm.
I call it ignorance
But,
because
I
these
mean-
guys are certainly good enough to play. You look at, for instance, Cameron. Always an injury. Didn't get in the Rangers team to start with. You've seen signs that he's a player. You look, for instance, at Celtic. Look at Luke McCown.
Aye.
Doing really well. And then there's other players that you would have took to Rangers and would have certainly done
You
that.
would have.
What?
You would have.
Aye. They were on the list.
There are a few Scottish-based players that would have been.
Yeah, there was-
had
there's-
you hung around.
Aye, because I think there's it's always up for debate, but I've got a belief you've got to have a core.
People are asking that.
You've got to have a core of Scottish.
Aye.
You've got to. And all this about, I don't think they're good enough. There's players that are certainly good enough.
Right, this one I should ask because it's not about Rangers, but John the Brummie says winning the League Cup with Birmingham or getting to the UEFA Cup final with Rangers. That win in 2011 remains one of the 2 trophies in our entire history.
Yeah, listen, brilliant time.
I'd think very carefully how you answer that question, by the way.
Well, no, I think the Rangers fans will understand that. You get to cup finals to what?
To win.
And we never won, unfortunately.
So is that one just a sore one for you?
I've never. Do you know what? I've never watched that game back.
Haven't you?
No. The amount of games we had at that stage, there was guys that were playing with injuries that probably shouldn't have played.
That was mad that season, wasn't it?
Some of the games we never get much help, did we really? But that's no an excuse. We got to the final and we just didn't produce our best. Feel like we did in the semi-final, quarter-final, and the rounds before that. So that was a sore one to take. But in terms of the Birmingham Cup final, just there was seeing the lead up to that game. You know what it's like. You've got loads of press to do, and there was hardly anything for Birmingham. Everything was Arsenal. And we had a team at Birmingham that weren't brilliant to watch, probably. But I tell you what, 11 dogs.
I was looking at it earlier. Really
I
good
mean,
team.
proper.
Aye.
Like,
I actually did enjoy watching that side.
no, but
because
do you
it
know
was-
what? See, they just writ us totally off, and I think it got to midweek leading up to that cup final, and we were like, listen, you could see the boys weren't happy with it, but let them carry on, let them concentrate on Arsenal, and then we'll see when the whistle goes in the cup final, and listen, we frustrated them and we just get wired in about them.
Aye.
They didn't enjoy it. I knew after 10-15 minutes they're rolling about the ground and moaning at the referee. We were in their heads straight away.
Aye.
Is that why you clapped the wee guy in the head? When
I don't know why I done that. Do you know what? I think I was just happy because I knew.
Who was it again?
Koscielny, was it?
Koscielny.
Koscielny, aye. I stayed well clear of it. Because he's a bit of a nutcase, isn't he?
Aye.
Aye, but I broke 2 ribs in that game.
Wow.
Aye, Jack Wilshere, right into me. Never felt it. Weird. After 20 minutes, obviously you could feel a bit of pain. Never felt it. Just adrenaline, just get you right through. And then after it, I was raging after it. I missed the after party.
Is that right?
Oh, I
Oh,
was-
just in so much pain now.
No, because I was in. I went to hospital
Oh,
and then I was in my bed at the hotel.
Jeez.
I was getting injections. I was raging because I missed the party. Raging. But I made up for it.
Aye.
Aye,
Made up.
can imagine now.
Might have been no bad idea in retrospect, missing out on that.
Aye. It was a good. That was a good, really good group of boys. Really together.
You could see it in the performances. I actually did enjoy watching.
Aye, this
You're right in
guy's
terms that it wasn't always pretty,
Aye.
but it was real determination. It was a good
Aye,
team
these
to watch.
guys like Liam Ridgewell, Scott Dan, Crystal Palace centre half, Roger Johnson, Seb Larson,
Oh, he was a
Lee
good
Bowyer, Stephen Carr,
Obafemi Martins. I think he scored
Obafemi
in the
Martins.
final, didn't he?
Faddy was part of the squad, but he'd just done his cruciate. He missed out.
Was it a boy Gardner?
Craig Gardner.
Craig Gardner.
He would score screamers from. Aye.
That's right.
Aye, it was just a real, very good players, but knew how to play the game. I mean, upstairs,
Aye.
they were mentally strong.
I could ask questions, all right, but we're all time's getting away, and there's a lot of people asking along the lines of, does Barry think we're going to the World Cup?
You've got to have belief, haven't you? The start, I thought it was going to be a tough one in Denmark, but I think that was a brilliant point. And then we get the win after that, and we've got this double header at home. I'm sure the Greeks are missing the wonder kid, didn't they?
The wee boy, but
He ran riot the last time, didn't he? So, listen, again, he's another man. I like Stevie Clark.
Me too.
He knows how to set a team up. He knows that.
I was cursing him in Denmark, by the way, when I saw the team sheet and Billy Gilmore wasn't in it again, and you're thinking,
Aye, I
what are
know,
you doing?
but then
you watch what he was doing. He got it right, didn't he? He got it
He
right.
does get it right. He knows the game and he understands the game, and he knows how to set a team up. And I've got every confidence.
Tomorrow
I mean,
night's-
you look at our midfield.
It's brilliant.
Oh,
You look at Lewis. You look at McTominay. You look at Gilmer. You look at McGinn.
Aye, I mean, some of the best midfielders
There
in
are
Europe, really.
4 players there that could get into
Aye,
top teams.
absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we've had a talented a squad as this in a long time. And they're just coming into the right age. Lewis is now, he's obviously decided that he needs to make the next phase.
Aye.
So he's put him into the starting lineup. He'll stay in that starting lineup. Billy Gilmore, Scott McTominay,
Hickey.
McGinn, Hickey.
I think
Aye.
Hickey's just a ridiculous football player.
Aye.
I think that guy could play anywhere.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I think we can take 6 points for these two
Well,
games.
tomorrow night's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
At home to Greece.
And
Hope it's a full house. Because
I
Hampden,
think
I'll
it's
be honest with
close.
you, Hampden's no a stadium. It creates a brilliant atmosphere, so I'm sure the fans will get behind them. But we've got some top class players, especially in the middle of the
Do you
pitch.
both think we'll win tomorrow night? Predictions?
I think it'll be close.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Scotland.
I'll go 2-1 Scotland, and I think we'll go to the World Cup.
Which would just be amazing, wouldn't it?
You've said that if we get there, we'll do the hotline from America. You'll pay for it. That's cool, isn't it?
We'll have some camper van studio or something. We'll just tour about the place.
Better than this place. Aye. Can't wait.
Right.
I think that brings us to the end of
Alright.
tonight's Hotline Live. I mean, look, it's been 44 minutes.
finally.
We can keep going. Do you want to go another couple of hours? Or? Thank you so much.
And
to
my
every-
dinner's going to be ready at what time's it? 7:30. So we'll go another 5 minutes.
Well, I don't even have any questions. I've worked through them all. I think I've battered through them all.
Right, I'll ask you one then before we go. What's your reading? Back to the start. Stephen Gerrard having this meeting
See,
tonight.
I told you
or
we should have
tomorrow
finished.
morning. What's your reading? How does this play out, Barry?
Well, you said at the start there's a lot of things that obviously Stephen Gerrard needs to sort out, where he's been before, the implications of the Saudi
Yeah.
stint he had, and obviously what staff he's wanting and the financials that Rangers have got, is it going to meet his expectations? Because I would imagine whoever gets the job, you'd want a guarantee that you've got a bit of money come January.
And you've got the authority to be the guy that decides where it's getting spent.
Yeah, I've says it all the every time I'm asked this question, Jacko, I've says it. The manager has got to pick the players. You're the one that coaches them, manages them alongside your staff. And see if a player does really well, you get a pat in the back. Hey, by the way, what a signing that was. But see if it doesn't do well,
It's on you.
it's on me, and that's the way I think it should be. It's got to be at football clubs.
So I think there may be some conversations like that having to take place over the next couple of days as well, in terms of.
But it's
what
going
the
to be an
setup is.
interesting few days because Rangers, if you look at the block of games coming up next Saturday against Dundee United, you've got Hibs away in amongst that. You've got Bran, is it Bran, isn't it?
Yeah, Bran, yeah.
At home. You've got Celtic in the semi-final. You've got Roma away. It's a tough block of games. So the manager, I think the Rangers need to get a manager in as quickly as possible alongside his staff to get to work, because still early in the season, 31 games still left domestically. What's that? 93 points.
Aye.
That's good maths. There's still a lot of football. I don't think it's over yet.
Well, I mean, I
So
joined.
Rangers
in 4
make-
competitions.
If Rangers make the right appointment, you think they can still win this league this year?
Yeah, but why? You can never give up. Never give up. 9 points behind Celtic, 11 points behind Hearts. Fair due to Hearts. Listen, great start to the season. Celtic are 9 points. I don't think Celtic are firing on all cylinders at this moment in time. But you're still in 4 competitions. You've got a semi-final. Scottish Cup's still to start up in terms of the bigger clubs coming into it. You've got 31 games in the league left, and you're still in the Europa League, albeit 2 games where I looked and I thought 6 points.
Yeah.
I did seriously think that's a right good start.
Aye.
Genk, let's be honest, I didn't think were great at all.
No.
Strum Graz, apart from the wee Georgian boy,
Yeah.
who I thought
number
was
10.
he was a baller. He could play the game. Apart from that,
They're average.
aye. So that's a disappointment, but still get time to claw enough points to make sure you're in it.
But it's funny because I've been saying for Derek McInnes this season at Tynecastle, and that'd be really difficult, a real difficult spot to put him into if Rangers were to come and say, right, can we talk? Because I think from a Hearts perspective, from his perspective, because of the mess that Rangers were in under Russell Martin, because Celtic are tearing themselves apart with a bit of internal civil war, Brendan Rodgers leaving at the end of the season, there does feel like an opportunity for Hearts, but also Rangers get this appointment right.
Yeah,
There's an opportunity there as well.
I don't even think about Hearts. I just think it is a brilliant opportunity for Rangers. Still so early in the season. It's a great opportunity. And I'm hearing people saying, I don't know if that's a job that certain managers would touch. Gaze peace. Give me peace. What a job it is to get. What a job. And I said to you, the most important thing is the manager that gets this job, just make sure you get a connection in these stands. And if you get that, what a place it is.
Brilliant.
I think on that note, it's a perfect place for us to wrap up. Everyone watching at home, thank you so much for all your comments. It's been absolutely brilliant again tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll be back later tomorrow night after the game, won't we?
Oh, it's a late one.
It's a pyjama party. We'll be back at 10
Yeah.
p.m. After Scotland.
I'll be watching you with a wee glass of wine.
After Scotland beat Greece 2-0. Hope you can join us then. And thanks for watching tonight. Barry, Keith, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Cheers.